Hello, my name is Mr. Richard, and I am the technology specialist for Rebecca Stallman Southgate Schools. That's part of the Stark County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And so, what that means is all of my students have IEPs, and they range from kindergarten to 22 years of age, which that's what kind of was a challenge for me to try to figure out what age or what unit to pick for this. And so, basically, I kind of developed this unit around the idea of 4 M's of computing, that students need to meet the computer, know what the terms are, know what the pieces and parts are and what they do, to manipulating the computer, being able to start making files and stuff like that, managing and mastering the computer. And you'll see that as we go through the lesson plans. Each of my pages are straight down the list there, so it's easy to find. So we'll go ahead and start in with the lesson plans. This lesson plan page has all the lesson plans down here, and that's the links to them. And of course, above is a little bit of a description or a name of each of the particular lessons and what it focuses on. So computer lesson number 1, which would be on the terms. I want the students to start getting an idea of what the terms are, and to be able to speak technically, in a sense, that they need to know what input devices are, output devices are, what ROM, RAM, CPU, all that kind of stuff, what those terms are, so that when they use it later on in the unit, they'll have a better understanding. So I'm not going to go through every lesson like this, but I'm going to show you this on the first one, that I have a class title, which is computer technology, the lesson title, grade level, description of the lesson, the approximate class duration, the objectives, the things that the students will be doing, and then of course a materials list. And then later on down, after the materials list, these are actually the activities that we'll be doing throughout the course of this particular lesson. And then at the bottom of every one, I tried to have some kind of an extension or modification in case students need extra points, maybe if they need a little more help or something, some reinforcement. Or in my case, sometimes I have students that are autistic and they are very smart, and so I want to give those guys some extra things to do. And so there's some modifications. And then at the bottom, on some of these, I give actually web links to give them some help on finding the material and stuff like that. Also at the bottom, you can see where it says presentation evaluation form. I'll add documents there so you guys can see the different rubrics and lesson plans that I use, or documents I use for each of the lessons. So lesson number 2, again, is on computer parts, very similar format as the other one, and then it has the attachments below. And on the computer parts, I want to introduce them to the basic hard drives, memory, motherboard, basically the parts of the computer, not only input devices, output devices, but internal devices of a particular computer. Okay, lesson number 3. We go from meeting the computer in the first 2 lessons to now manipulating the computer, so the students create a bio of themselves. That's not the BIOS of the computer, that's their own BIOS. And in this lesson, they just start making documents. I would like for them to copy and paste from one folder to another and stuff like that, so they can kind of get used to, working their way around inside of a computer and actually using it for something. Which is another thing they're going to be needing, especially those that will be transitioning out of our program and getting jobs, that they need to know how to be able to type and create documents and stuff like that. Lesson number 4 was probably one of my favorite because it talks about antivirus malware and downloading programs. And so students will actually go through the worksheets that I have to download some antivirus software. But before that, they'll go through and they'll research the different sites that review antivirus software and kind of analyze that and figure out which one they think is the best and stuff. And then we'll actually have a debate on that, and they'll have points and counterpoints and stuff like that, and learn a little bit about the decorum of debating. And so that's the managing your computer lesson. Then the last would be the mastering, using the computer tools. Actually, I'd be using Windows tools to actually go through and take a look at the computer. If you look here at the bottom, this Windows Experience worksheets, it basically walks you through how to look at your computer and ask yourself, is it up to date? Is it healthy? Is there things I can do to speed it up and stuff like that? And so the students go through that. It's about a 2 or 3 page worksheet. And then they go into an action center, which they do an update to the computer. They do a Windows update. And they also read a few articles on ways to improve the process or their computers and stuff, so they can process data faster and basically be a little bit faster. And that's my theme, or unit theme. The standards, I have 3 basic panels for you to look at. And so the first one is for the student standards, and I've got a little scroll bar over the side so you can kind of look down through and see what the standards are. And what I did is right here under each of the standards, I put the lessons that it refers to. I put those in bold so you can kind of look for those. And then I also did the same thing for the teachers, and then also for the P21 standards. And of course down below, these here are the full-blown standards documents right there, so for you to peruse if you need to. Okay, the assessments for my students are kind of a little bit different than I normally would when I was teaching. Quizlet, I just want to tell you that you need to check out this site. It's really a good site. I used to use 3x5 flashcards, and I used to play a game called Do You Want to Be a Millionaire with the class and students, stuff like that. Now I could do it online. I had all these 3x5 cards. You could do it online. You can take your own content for whatever lesson or whatever unit you're working on, and make 3x5 cards on them. You can actually on the website, you can make them flip, and where the answer's on one side and the question's on the other, or they're both on the same side, so you can kind of use it for review. They also have quizzes and tests you can take, and then also they have games that are just based on the content that you create. So a great website. I had a couple different rubrics that I made up: the presentation rubric and the debate rubric, and then also used those worksheets that they had to fill out. I'd also observed my students, just checking to see, because usually if you can look around, you can tell pretty quickly if your students are getting it. And then of course there were some forms for them to fill out, especially for the antivirus software. They had to actually analyze the software and kind of get an idea of what they would choose for the school or whatever. Technology-wise, I had several different tools that I use. Of course, Screencast-O-Matic, which I'm using right now, YouTube, Google Docs and Google Drive, Google Forms, all those Google sites. I was really impressed. I really didn't know much about Google Docs before this thematic unit, and I really have grown to enjoy Google Docs. I don't have to email myself files anymore. I can just put them up on my Google Drive, and I'm good to go. Glogster, I really didn't get a chance to spend much time on that. I saw it and I thought, well, this looks like really a good way of having the students use that and stuff like that. Interesting to dive more into that. There's the Dropbox, which is kind of the same thing as your Google Drive, so I'm interested in checking that out as well. Okay, and that is basically it. Implementations and reflections. That's not even up and running yet because we're not done with our reviews, and I skip over the reviews, so I'll give that to you now. I used this. This was Google Forms. I used this instead of SurveyMonkey because I had trouble with SurveyMonkey. But anyway, so hey, hope you enjoyed my site and have a good day. Bye.